Yeah. Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Jay, here to talk a little bit about the unfortunate passing of a musical legend in Tina Turner, born at Adame Bullock in uh, in Tennessee, possibly the queen of rock and roll, the one figure I say the and also the most famous domestic abuse survivor in musical history. She started a career in the early 1960s along with her husband, or former, not husband really. They weren't actually married. It was later revealed by him that they were uh, common law, a common law relationship. But her partner in the music industry, the music world, Ike Turner, as part of the Ike and Tina Turner Review. But prior to that, like I said, she came from uh, Nutville, Tennessee. I don't know, some obscure part of Tennessee. Her family was sharecroppers, uh, and she worked domestic work. But it was when she moved with her family to St. Louis where she actually met Ike. Ike, of course, very influential in the early days of rock and roll. In fact, many people say that he had the first rock and roll hit ever, Rocket 88, in the late 1950s, recorded at Sun Studios. So when he's performing this one time at in East St. Louis, that's where she meets him, and she says that she was incensed, entranced by him. His performance was so good that she was entranced by him. Soon she gets up there to sing, a singing competition, and she joins the band, and they start to record music together. Initially, she says that they had a brother and sister type relationship. Their relationship um, was not a romantic relationship initially, but later on they developed a romantic relationship. One of the other bandmates threatened to go into her room, so she went into Ike's room, and that's the first time that she and Ike uh, began an intimate relationship. But it was soon after that that Ike became very violent. He punched her in the face. He beat her to the ground. It was a terrible experience for her. And but despite that, they still continued to make several hits. They hooked up with Phil Spector, and they recorded one of their most famous songs, "River Deep, Mountain High." Later on, they opened up for the Rolling Stones, and throughout the '60s, she continued to impress people with her dancing ability and her on-stage presence, and perhaps the most perfect set of legs in the entire music industry. Certain women are known for their certain characteristics. Like you could say that, for example, J Lo is known for her butt, or Selena is known for her butt, and Dolly Parton is known for her breast. Some women are known for their exquisite faces, or like Whitney Houston, their voices. But for Tina Turner, the late Tina Turner, it was her legs that were the most famous part of her anatomy and a big part of her stage show. So she gets up there, she starts dancing, and of course, her personality is so electric that the Rolling Stones take her on tour with her. The Beatles put her in their movie, um, the Sergeant Pepper Lonely Hearts Club movie. She's going on tour, just blowing it up. But in the midst of this, she's having this tumultuous relationship with Ike Turner, this violent relationship with Ike Turner. And uh, it isn't until 1984 when she comes out with her album Private Dancer, where she has the song What's Love Got to Do with It? And it's the most famous, I believe, comeback album in the history of music. There's no other, I mean, people talk about the emancipation of Mimi being the quintessential comeback album in music. But before that, this album, Private Dancer, this 1984 album, was the most famous comeback album because she was basically telling us all that we did not know about this relationship, this tumultuous, abusive relationship, and basically saying, "Look, I've had enough of you, Ike." She left him in 1976, but it wasn't until 1984 that musically, even though sound and rock and roll had moved on, basically she was able to reinvent herself, not only with her sound, not only sonically, but also personally. Being very autobiographical with her stuff, and also her look, her signature big hairstyle and wild and crazy hairstyle that she had was in line with the 1980s MTV, first generation of MTV singers. Now, keep in mind, this is very revolutionary because at this time we all know that they weren't really playing black artists on MTV. They were only playing rock and roll artists. But her style was so unique, and she was such a legend in the music industry that she was one of the first, and one of the only black female artists to break through that barrier of musical segregation on the channel initially with this album. And also in 1985, she starred in Mad Max Thunderdome. In the movie, many people will know this. A lot of wrestling fans will know this because wrestling storylines and wrestling stuff constantly references this movie in Demolition's gimmick, in Legion of Doom's gimmick as the Road Warriors, and many people that are hip hop fans will know this as the scene that they parodied, um, the movie that they parodied in the California Love Tupac video in 1995. Well, she was in this movie. Then in 1983, in which she received a NAACP Image Award. Then in 19 for her performance in this. In 1993, pardon me, she uh, a movie about her life was released. The autobiography of her, What's Love Got to Do with It? Again, this song was so popular and so revolutionary that she came out with a movie about her life, starring, of course, the greatest female actress of all time, in my opinion, Angela Bassett. And this was a wonderful performance by Angela Bassett about Tina Turner's life. Unfortunately, um, well, Tina Turner suffered some great losses herself. The loss of her son, in one of her sons, in 2018, apparently by suicide, and another one of her sons to colon cancer around the same time. But fortunately for her, she did remarry, and she ended up renouncing her American citizenship and moving to Switzerland. Uh, and Also, she had a religious rediscovery. She discovered the teachings of Buddhism, and she became, probably next to Richard Gere, probably one of the most influential Buddhists in American Buddhists that there is. And she's appeared in so many, so many so many things, and she was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Awards, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Awards in 2018, and also along with Ike Turner for the initial performance. And she is proof that no matter what you go through in life, you will and you can triumph even when you go through hell, because she was put through hell and she made it out, and now she not only triumphed but she thrived. And her image that we know of today and that we remember of her today is more in line with her comeback, her comeback her comeback career than her actual initial career. She's more famous for being Tina Turner than being Ike and Tina Turner. You know what I mean? So she was not only able to reinvent herself, but reinvent herself in such a way that her modern image is more synonymous with her than her previous image. And of course, like I said, the role that her and Ike played in the foundations of rock and roll. People don't understand that rock and roll was a new movement, a new musical movement that didn't exist before that, and in the late 50s and early 60s was breaking down racial barriers. So for her to come out of this small Tennessee town and to show them the power and the strength of an amazing and a very sexual and a very um, provocative and erotic image of a very feminine African American woman was just revolutionary at the time. And then for her to empower a lot of women later on, in the 80s, like I said, with her comeback story, to empower them, to let them know that you can escape domestic abuse by a husband or a spouse. So she not only changed the world and changed the image of black women in the world once, but also she did it twice. And come on, man, she was one of the goats. And for us that grew up in the 90s, we know about her. We know about her song, "What's Love Got to Do with It," uh, because one of the most famous '90s rappers, the guy that we talk about a lot in this channel, Fat Joe, reinvigorated her song when he re-released it in 20 um, in 2002 with his version of "What's Love" featuring Ashanti. So, like he said on Twitter, if she didn't sign over the rights to her music, there would be no Fat Joe. Without Tina Turner, there's no Fat Joe. So, rest in peace to her. She suffered a lot of kidney failure diagnosis. I didn't want to post the video yesterday if I didn't exactly know, what it was that she passed away from. But rest in peace to her. She's the queen of rock and roll, the real queen of rock and roll. I know we discussed that title, but like I said, her and Ike, they blazed the trail, man. Ike especially, but with her, right by his side, as his vocal representation being the early pioneers of rock and roll in this musical genre. Anyway, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell button to see my next videos coming out. Love you.